Thoroughbred Championships. Powered by Dodge.
Welcome, sports fans, to Saratoga Racecourse, Saratoga Springs, New York. On the eve of the Travers, beautiful day for racing, even if not everyone is racing actually in the Travers tomorrow. We do got a good one for you, the Personal Ensign, and a huge favorite, Wild Spirit. Nice little filly going after that one here today in the Personal Ensign. Randy Moss on board. The headline news, of course, was that both Funny Side and Empire Maker dropped out, both not on their top game. Both came up a little bit sick. But the two horses who beat them in their last races are racing in tomorrow's Travers.
Exactly. Got Strong Hope, who defeated Empire Maker in the Jim Dandy, and, of course, Peace Rules, who defeated Funny Side in the Haskell. Peace Rules trained by the same trainer as Empire Maker, Bobby Frankel, who entered Peace Rules just as an insurance policy. And lo and behold, now that Empire Maker is out, Peace Rules will be the favorite. At least he's the program favorite.
And potentially he can go nuts this weekend, a record-breaking weekend for him. He's got all sorts of entrants coast to coast.
Right. Frankel will compete in 6 different Grade 1 stakes races Friday, including today with Wild Spirit, Saturday and Sunday. Of course, on Sunday, the Pacific Classic, which we'll bring you. He has both Medallia d'Oro and Milwaukee Brew, and he is hot on the trail of both a national and a world record. 18 Grade 1 wins so far this year for Frankel. The record in America is 22 wins, set by Wayne Lucas. That's for the whole year. In 1987, world record 23 by English-based Aidan O'Brien, or Irish-based Aidan O'Brien, and he did that in 2001. So Frankel could conceivably, with an unbelievable weekend, break both of those records.
And then take the rest of the year off. Here we go now. The 134th running of the Travers. That's coming Saturday as Sports Center comes to Saratoga. Big special tomorrow. Peace Rules breaking from the inside. Lots of speed. Just won the Haskell in easy fashion with Jerry Bailey up this time.
He also finished 3rd in the Kentucky Derby. Of course, Peace Rules was ridden on those races by Edgar Prado. But Prado was already committed in this race when Frankel put Peace Rules into the lineup.
The 2 is 15-1. Congrats. In his very first stakes race, the Jim Dandy, he actually came out of that pretty well at 30-1.
He finished 3rd in the Jim Dandy. That pleased Shook McGahee, but Shook wasn't going to run him in this race unless Empire Maker scratched, and he got his wish. Mike Leslie aboard.
Strong Hope, the one who beat Empire Maker here in the Jim Dandy, has won 5 straight and has the hot trainer Todd Fletcher behind him.
And Strong Hope likes to go wire to wire. That style could be compromised, though, by Peace Rules, who also has a lot of early speed like he showed in the Haskell.
The house horse 10 Most Wanted, installed at 5-1, has Pat Day ran huge in the Belmont. It looked like he might get past Empire Maker.
He got right up to Empire Maker's throat latch there in mid-stretch, just lost by 3/4 of a length. Then he was 2nd in the swaps. He's the house horse because a couple of his owners are ESPN executives. I guess we have a rooting interest.
That's right. Wild and Wicked 20-1 has Shane Sellers. Won the Ohio Derby. Didn't do much in the Haskell.
He won his first 3 starts very impressively. He was 4th in the Haskell, beaten 10 lengths by Peace Rules, but his trainer Ken McPeak says he has lost no confidence. Shane Sellers keeps the mount on Wild and Wicked.
And then there's Sky Mesa, 2nd favorite, 2-1. Edgar Prado, maybe getting back into the same kind of form that had people thinking he was a world beater at age 2.
Prado winds up on Sky Mesa instead of Peace Rules. And Sky Mesa was a good 2nd in Haskell, beaten just a length and 3/4 by Peace Rules. He doesn't look like a 1.25 mile horse, but he did look that way in the Haskell with the way he finished.
All right, going back to Funny Side and Empire Maker, the 2 everyone wanted to be in this race, Randy, as we see the odds right now. The morning line, which they readjusted, changed slightly, but not all that much. Peace Rules goes 8-5. Empire Maker, of course, the scratch there, and then Strong Hope, who beat Empire Maker next, is 5-2. And the back page, you're seeing 10 Most Wanted at 5-1, and Sky Mesa trying to get back into 2-year-old form at 2-1. When Empire Maker got ill in the middle of the week, that looked like it might move Funny Side back into the race, but it just wasn't to be.
The bottom line is both Empire Maker and Funny Side are just a little sick. They're not really sick, but they're just sick enough with mucus in their throat and maybe at the beginning stages of a virus that neither trainer wanted to take a chance with 2 horses that are so valuable. It really was kind of a bummer to us because we were looking forward to that matchup. But as you said at the top, we've still got an excellent field in the Travers.
All right, right after Barkley Tagg made his decision, he talked to Kenny Rice. In fact, he ran to him. He's the first guy he consults with right after making big decisions.
I'm here with Barkley Tagg at the barn. I know he would rather be talking about Funny Side getting ready for the Travers, but instead the news has been that Funny Side is not going to run Barkley. It was a decision that prior to even the draw, you said was only about 75% because he's had this nagging lung infection. You think it is?
That's right. He's had this thing all along. It looked like it was good on Monday after we gave him a little breeze. He looked nice and clean when we scoped him. You cannot scope him every day. It's deleterious to their health if you do that. So today we thought he sounded a little rough for the first time galloping. We scoped him again today. He was full of mucus, so that just made the decision easy. Right then and there, it's over.
What did the owners say? Naturally, they want what's best for the horse, but I'm sure they had to be a little disappointed. Obviously, Saratoga's stable wanting to run at Saratoga.
I'm sure they were disappointed, but they were very, very good about it. They understand he's an animal. He's an athlete. Things happen to athletes. This is a very minor thing compared to things that can happen to athletes. But we haven't been able to really give him a chance to be sure he was over it because we've been preparing him for race after race after race. So now we're going to stop him. We're going to get him better, and then we'll look forward to it again.
Naturally, fans and, of course, those of us in the media always like to see rematches. Yankees, Red Sox, Kings, Lakers, and, of course, in this case, Funny Side and Empire Maker. That has never been really a concern for you, I have a feeling.
I don't even give it a thought. I really don't give it a thought. I try and win races with lots of money in them, and if they've got prestige, too, it's really great. But I don't go around hunting for match races. Never have, and I told these gentlemen when I was training the horse, I said, somebody's liable to approach you about a match race. I'm dead against it. I think it's the worst thing you can do to a horse because you can't scratch. You're forced into it then, and I don't think they're a good idea at all. In the old days, when there weren't as many horses, they were probably a good thing. But I think I don't think they're necessary nowadays, and I don't think they're in the best interest of any horse. You can remember Ruffian.
As far as the situation now, not being in the Travers yourself, are you a little disappointed at all that you're not going to be able to run in this race and come into this race as one of the favorites?
Yes, I'm always a little disappointed, but I'm used to disappointments. I have disappointments every day in this game, whether it's a maiden, I was getting ready for a maiden race on Sunday, or whether it was this horse or what it was, you're always disappointed. There's just an awful lot of disappointments when you're dealing with equine athletes.
Well, with Funny Side, everything looks okay, just not good enough to race right now, but we'll see him again in the fall?
That's exactly right. Yeah, he obviously has something going on in there that's not cleared up yet, and we're going to make sure it's cleared up before we try and run him again.
You've answered a lot of questions, I know, in the last 24 hours or so. Thanks for your time.
You're quite welcome.
Barclay Tagg, the man who trains Funny Side. We won't see him in the Travers, but we will see him, hopefully, down the road here, maybe again someday matching up with Empire Maker in the fall. Kenny?
All right, both the case with Empire Maker and Funny Side, it was just you don't do anything that risks injury, you know, for just the short-term game. And no knock on the Travers because this thing's been around for a little while. But in a perfect world, they both get back in health, and then you see them back in the Breeders' Cup Classic together.
Barclay Tagg was in a tough spot. He had to make sure that running Funny Side in the Travers was not bad for the horse physically. And then he had to make sure that if he did make the decision to run, that it was going to be good for the horse, meaning that he was going to have a chance to win even if he put him in there. And it was just, with all that has been going on since the Haskell, he came out of that race with a little fever and with the swollen eye, and he never really got well. It was just too much of a gamble.
All right, back when it looked like Funny Side and Empire Maker would face each other, someone came up with the bright idea of Sports Center at Saratoga. And it continues. The commitment's there. Good race still, the Travers Stakes. Those who just beat those two animals who were favored, they're racing tomorrow here from Saratoga Sports Center, 5 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. It's a big special. All in all, it's really 3 hours because we'll go back to Sports Center right after the race. Feature in that shows this.
Native Dancer was the epitome of a champion. He was big, he was strong, he won, he was powerful, he was from the Vanderbilt family. I think he sort of epitomized what America saw in itself right after World War II. Native Dancer was the horse of that age.
We're hauling out some old black and white TV sets to capture that in a full-fledged TV feature tomorrow on the great Native Dancer who won this race 50 years ago.
He lost only once in his life. Maybe he had mucus that day. What do you think?
Could have been displaced palate. We're coming right back with a Camel bonus race.
The road to the World Thoroughbred Championships. Powered by Dodge. This ESPN2 presentation of the Personal Ensign is brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. By Citgo, we know you. By Budweiser, the best things in life are the things that are true. Budweiser. By Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. By Long John Silver's new buckets of crunchy shrimp.
Hey, if you were going to play the Pick 6 tomorrow at Saratoga. You could instead buy a computer, then log on to ESPN.com. Play the Pick 6. Money being given away by the network on the Pick 6 here at Saratoga. All right, the 5th race was a good one here from Saratoga today. The Long John Silver race, in fact. The winner got a bucket of crunchy shrimp, among other things.
And some crunchy oats, perhaps, Kenny. Well, you know, this is the most anticipated time of the year for unveiling promising young stock. And none more hopeful than some of the 2-year-olds we see racing right here at Saratoga, where the 2-year-old races make up about 20% of the card. Well, earlier today in the 5th race, a talented group of 6 squared off, 3 of them recently exiting the Grade 2 Sanford Stakes. Well, the winner of today's 5th race here at Saratoga ended up running the fastest 3/4 of a mile by any 2-year-old so far at the meet. We'll take a look at the field here. We'll start with number 1, Flushing Meadows. He went off the 7-5 choice under Jerry Bailey for trainer Owen Hardy. He is by Grand Sam, also the sire of Strong Hope, who runs in tomorrow's Travers. He was recently 3rd in the Sanford to Chapel Royal. Pollard's Vision was coming off a 12-length romp for leading trainer Todd Fletcher. Pretty Wild Again was adding blinkers for trainer Stanley Huff. He had beaten the eventual Tyra winner Deputy Storm in his debut. And rounding out the field on the outside for Wayne Lucas was Adage, son of Tale of the Cat. Couldn't handle the sloppy racetrack last time out in the Sanford Stakes. Well, for the call of today's 5th race from a little bit earlier on the card today, here's the voice of Saratoga, Tom Durkin.
And they're off. Stumbling coming out of there was Adage. And it's Lissaw up for the lead. Lissaw in front, Flushing Meadows right there to his inside. 2nd and Pretty Wild Again 3rd. Adage bobbled at the break is 4th. Pollard's Vision sent through on the inside 5th, and Ruby Echo trails. Up the back stretch, Flushing Meadows short lead. Lissaw couldn't quite stay with Flushing Meadows, the leader 3/4 of a length. Farther back, Pollard's Vision and Pretty Wild Again. They zip through a quarter in 21 and 3. Flushing Meadows barreling full throttle around the far turn. Leads Lissaw by length. Pollard's Vision with an aggressive move there. Pollard's Vision trying to come through on the inside of the favorite Flushing Meadows. They'll arrive at the top of the stretch together. Flushing Meadows in front by a neck. Pollard's Vision driving 2nd on the inside. Lissaw is 3rd. Then farther back it's Pretty Wild Again. Ruby Echo and Adage top of the stretch. Flushing Meadows still there. He ran a half in 44 2/5 seconds and still has a 2-length lead. A furlong to go. Jerry Bailey working on Flushing Meadows. They're now clear by 3. Lissaw has reclaimed 2nd. Pollard's Vision on the inside 3rd. Flushing Meadows leaves them reeling in his speedy wake. Wins by 2. Very close for 2nd there. Very close indeed between Pollard's Vision and Lissaw.
Well, here's one definitely to keep an eye on. That's Flushing Meadows, son of Grand Slam out of Sheepish Grin. This makes him a half-brother to the multiple graded stakes placed Crafty Guy. He was a private purchase by Sheikh Mohammed's Darley stable earlier this year. Purchased privately from his breeder, and there is Flushing Meadows. He defeats Lissaw and Pollard's Vision, and I think the sentimental choice in the race was Pollard's Vision. Gutsy little colt named for the jockey of Seabiscuit, Ray Pollard, because Pollard's Vision only has one eye. So a credible performance there from him on the rail. Lissaw running 2nd for crack 2-year-old trainer Linda Rice. Well, Owen Hardy told me after the race that Flushing Meadows will most likely be appointed next to the Futurity at Belmont that runs on September 14th. Kenny?
All right, it's Fall Patrol time. The year was 1988. The Breeders' Cup Distaff, the Ogden Phipps' own personal ensign, on her way to set a perfect career record, 13 for 13 lifetime. Now Plaintiff, the saucy mare, also owned by Ogden Phipps in her racing career, holds her own note of distinction. She's the dam of this 2-month-old filly by the legendary Seattle Slew. Slew produced 1,090 foals in his lifetime. The last of his foals, only 4 were born just this year, and she's one of them. Look at her run. Seattle Slew produced 8 champions, including Slew of Gold, AP Indy, Swale, and Vindication. His children earned $79 million. The Full Patrol brought to you by Claiborne Farm. Hey, back here at Saratoga, kind of a steamy day, but not too terrible compared to what we faced. And tomorrow, by the way, temperature about 73 for the Travers. No chance of rain, they're telling us right now, so that's always good news. Last year, monsoon wasn't it raining?
Last year it was a monsoon, and plus you could see your breath. And Little League Baseball went into like 14 innings ahead of us, so it was a disaster all the way around.
You're wondering who those animals are we're showing you right now. Those are the competitors for the personal ensign, 56th running. You saw them doing their jumping jacks and so forth, getting ready for this race, just minutes away from this one. Of course, they're in the Nextel Distaff division as we get forward, or look forward to the Breeders' Cup. Azeri the high weight. And this is base 6 men wearing white wigs choose who should carry what weight if it were a handicap, right?
3 from the U.S., 3 from Europe. Azaria, of course, last year's Horse of the Year, last year's Breeders' Cup Distaff winner, and she's clearly on top of the rankings there with 124 pounds. But look, second and third are pretty close. Sight Seek, trained by Bobby Frankel. Wild Spirit, who we see today, trained by Bobby Frankel. And Frankel's not exactly sure which of the two are better.
You're going to see Wild Spirit right now as we look at the field for the Personal Ensign. Wild Spirit currently at 1-9. Stock market is more risky than betting on her, but then Microsoft never displaces a pallet.
2 starts in the U.S., 2 easy wins, and in her last race in the Delaware Handicap, she went the same 1.25 mile distance that she sees today. You see Bailey dropped his whip, but it didn't matter.
Summer Colony to 2. If she can get to the old form like 1 year ago, maybe she's got a shot today.
She is the defending champion in this race. She won last year's Personal Ensign, and there you see it, by 4.5 lengths. But in her last race, Wild Spirit beat her by 16 lengths at Delaware.
Wonder what Mark Hennig says about her right now. Miss Linda's the 3, has a lot of speed, but really hasn't finished the deal lately.
She also was at her best in 2002. She has been injury plagued since then. Nowhere close to peak form right now, but she should set the pace today with Richie Migliore.
Passing shot is the 4 with Jose Santos. Seems fit better to Allowance Company, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. We talk about this all the time. Trainer Alan Jerkins, the Giant Killer. He's been around a long time, you know. He won this race in 1962, the first time he ever ran in it. He's tried for 41 years since then to win it. Maybe this is it.
He trained to upset against Manworth. Golden Sonata passed on an Allowance race just yesterday to get in here. Why'd you do that?
Because of the short field, only a 5-horse field in here, and trainer Bill Mott figured that he had almost as good a chance to hit the board in a Grade 1 today as he did to just win an Allowance race yesterday. So why not give it a shot?
Well, in the time that we said Wild Spirit is a better bet than going into the stock market, it's gone from 1-9 to 1-5. So some people backing off 1-5. About what she should be, given how she stacks up against the rest of these.
That's about right. She was 4-5 in the Delaware Handicap, and she won it by 6. You see the second choice Summer Colony at 8-1, passing shot at 9-1, but Wild Spirit dominant on the board.
Now, she was racing in Chile, comes over here to the United States, and has gone wild ever since. Really no let up at all. 2 straight wins.
I think she is the first Chilean bred ever to run in this race. Now it's called the Personal Ensign. Before that, it was the John Morris. Before that, going way back, it was the Ferenzi. But I think she's the first Chilean bred ever. And the reason why Bobby Frankel got her is because the owners wanted to send her from Chile to the U.S., more money and all that. And he had already trained a Chilean bred called Lido Palace, who won a lot of money here. So they figured, why not give it a chance? They obviously have learned their lessons well in Chile.
They're stronger than the Uruguayan horses.
we had a Uruguayan horse earlier on the card who's still running, basically. And there is the Delaware Handicap. And Jerry Bailey was so impressed by the way she ran, because she sat just behind the horses, in his words, ready to pounce. And as soon as he gave just even the slightest signal, she just leaped forward against the competition and blew him away. And it was good competition. Take Charge Lady finished second in that race, in a distant second.
And additionally, they weren't going very fast from the beginning, which, you know, the old racetrack thing, if they go out fast, you can catch them. If they go out slow, you can't. In this case, they went out slow, and she still ran by him. Summer Colony is one of those she beat. Summer Colony, we mentioned earlier, had won this before, but just has really dropped off since the way she was running last year.
She did have an excuse in that last race, from what Mark Hennig told us earlier, but still, she was beaten. She was beaten in that race so badly that it kind of makes you wonder if she, like Miss Linda, isn't off form this year as a 5-year-old mare.
She probably didn't like the track. Kenny Rice probably knows what the reasoning was, and he's down the paddock right now.
Well, Mark Hennig really didn't want to talk too much about anything else other than the Delaware Handicap, Kenny, because he said he didn't like the start of that race. And then after the race, Summer Colony came out of it with a lung infection, one that kept her out of training for a bit. So he doesn't look back with fond memories of the Del Cap like Bobby Frankel can with Wild Spirit. Here it is. Summer Colony is the 8-horse. Now watch her as she's coming into the gate here. Everyone else is loaded up. She's just getting in. John Velasquez is aboard there. Edgar Prado will ride today. Now notice she's looking to her right. The gate break, and who is dead last? It's Summer Colony. She would run pretty much that way all the way around, eventually moving up a bit to finish 6th, but still 16 lengths behind. I said, Mark, have you seen the video? He said, yes, I have. It was a bad start. As you can see, she's looking to her right. She was not focused on the race, and I spotted Wild Spirit at least 8-10 lengths right at the start of the race, so he was not happy about that. What he is happy about today is you take a look at her with her new rider today, Edgar Prado. And again, I said, why about the change about Velasquez, who's generally the rider, and now it's Prado? We're just going to go with Edgar today, is the way that Hennig briefly, succinctly summed everything up. But he is happy about the fact that she is back here at Saratoga, where she has won 3 of 5 lifetime, including, of course, the Personal Ensign. She has a fondness for this track. She had trouble 2 years ago breaking her maiden. They brought her here, and she broke her maiden by a whopping 32 3/4 lengths 2 years ago. So he's hoping that maybe she can regain some of her form after the lung infection, after the bad start in the Delaware Handicap, and maybe run strong here today. Kenny?
Well, you can get her at 9-1 right now. Okay, Randy, let's go ahead and throw out the last race because of the bad gate break. Going back then this year, after last year's Breeders' Cup Distaff, she's got a second and a first, but the buyer figures are so low compared to the others.
Well, that's because she was just rounding her way into shape. When they started her this year, admittedly, Mark Hennig said she was at 100%. I think the key factor here, if you go back last year to her very best races, including the Personal Ensign, I still don't think her very best race of last year is as good as Wild Spirit's been running this year.
Well, that's how the bettors are looking at it, too. She's the second choice at 9-1. Wild Spirit, 1-9. We're going to come back and find out how it plays out real soon.
The road to the World Thoroughbred Championships. Powered by Dodge.
Welcome back here to Saratoga, getting set up a few minutes away from the Personal Ensign. Anytime I walk into a Long John Silver's, I weep because I get nostalgic. Silver memory.
We've addressed several times the Wild Spirit in here is a 1-9 favorite. The shortest price favorite in the history of this race, 1995. Blade Ogden Phipps sent out Heavenly Prize. Pat Day aboard.
Here is Heavenly Prize, who moves by with absolutely alarming ease. Heavenly Prize, absolutely in a runaway. You'll never see a racehorse win a Grade 1 as easy as this. Heavenly Prize, a 6-length winner. She could have won by the length of the stretch this afternoon.
The race known then as the John Morris Heavenly Prize by 8.5. The second largest winning margin in the race's history and the last win of her career.
Now they bet her like crazy, and right now they are dumping on Wild Spirit in all sorts of ways. In fact, when you look at the show pool, last check, almost 750,000 out of the 765,000 was being. Is that creating like a minus pool situation?
You would think so. With the odds of 1-9, it's almost absurd to think that at one point Bobby Frankel was pondering not even running her in this race because he didn't like the weights. She carried 117 pounds in the Del Cap. They upped her to 122. Mike Lakehow, the racing secretary here, and Bobby was distraught over that, almost to the point that he pulled her out of here and maybe thought about running Sightseek instead.
She'll be giving away, what, 12 is the most to Golden Sonata the 5?
Yeah, and by contrast, of course, Alan Jerkins has Passing Shot in here, and he went ahead and kept Jose Santos, even though he knew Santos was going to be 3 pounds over. So you got a trainer threatening not to run over 5 pounds and another trainer voluntarily giving up 3. Just kind of shows how unimportant weight really is in most cases.
All right, going back to Golden Sonata in this race, an allowance race, a little disturbing video as we hit the stretch run here.
I don't know how much this really means from a handicapping perspective, but it's kind of entertaining. On the outside, you see Golden Sonata starting to go by Passing Shot. This is a recent allowance race. Jose Santos aboard Passing Shot has the whip out as if to sort of intimidate Golden Sonata, who tries on several occasions to reach out and bite the whip out of Jose Santos's hands. Now, as they straighten away for home, you can tell that Golden Sonata continues to be pretty distracted. It's like she's continuing to look for that whip instead of really keeping her mind on what's going on. Jerry Bailey on Golden Sonata that day has trouble keeping her on a straight course. So when it looked like Golden Sonata was going to blow by at the top of the stretch, a Passing Shot ends up hanging on and defeating Golden Sonata, who's still running erratically there. Both these horses coming straight from that allowance race into the Personal Ensign today.
She tried to bite the winner as well as the whip, it looked like here. Checking the odds real quickly as they start to load, and Wild Spirit remains at 1-9. Next choice on the board is the 2 Summer Colony. Get them at 7-1. $1 million now to show on her as they load up, and it really does look like a runaway race here.
On paper, it certainly does.
Tom Durkin's up there to call the race. Tom, you like Wild Spirit a little?
Not at 1-9. No, no, thank you.
I just meant rooting. You know, we don't have to bet. Why does it always have to be about betting?
Yes, I'll be cheering for her loudly right in the middle of the call. Don't worry about that. Ready to go here. They're in the gate. Ready for the start here. And they're off. Wild Spirit comes away toward the inside. Summer Colony backs off her quickly. Miss Linda taking the early initiative here. Passing Shot is up close. and Golden Sonata. So they move by us for the first time at what appears to be a leisurely pace. Miss Linda short lead, passing shot right there. Golden Sonata on the outside. Wild Spirit up close and on the rail. And the early trailer in this very tight pack is Summer Colony. Miss Linda with the short lead, passing shot alongside. They strolled through the opening quarter here in 24 and 4/5 seconds. So a tactical advantage to the front runner. Miss Linda coasting along. Passing shot conceding the lead to her. Wild Spirit heavily favored on the inside. 1-5 and racing third while saving ground. Golden Sonata on the outside. Summer Colony, last year's winner of the race, is now the trailer. Continuing up the backstretch run, the opening half mile was a dawdling 49 and 3/5 seconds. Miss Linda still uncontested. Passing shot on the outside. Wild Spirit down on the fence, effectively put down at this point by Golden Sonata. The trailer Summer Colony, relatively unhurried, about 4.5 lengths from the lead. They continue to saunter through the opening stages here. Miss Linda's in front with a half mile to go. 3/4 in a pokey 14-1. Around the far turn, Miss Linda still the leader. Passing shot continues to track in second. Wild Spirit has been unable to get off the fence. There goes Summer Colony rallying. Summer Colony now moves up on the outside third. Golden Sonata is fourth. And they're coming to the top of the stretch. Miss Linda is the leader. Passing shot alongside. Wild Spirit crying out for running room. There it is. There's the opening for Bailey and Wild Spirit. And they shoot through on the inside. At the top of the stretch now, it is Wild Spirit who's come through to take the lead. On the outside, passing shot, making her work for it. Miss Linda's tailed off in the third. 16th pole. Wild Spirit, 3/4 of a length. Passing shot with a final try. It's going to be close. Here's the wire. Too close to call. Was it Wild Spirit? Was it Wild Spirit at 1-5? Or was it the long shot trained by Alan Jerkins passing shot? Too close to call in the personal Ensign. Wow, that was thrilling. A lot of anxious moments there for Wild Spirit. Jerry Bailey loves to ride on the rail. He did it. And passing shot, Jose Santos, perhaps the giant killer has done it again. We'll see. There's the anxious owner of passing shot, Jerry Shields, looking on. Did he win?
Well, typically we like to take it back from Tom after we know who has one, and he's very good at calling those at the wire. What's your best guess? We can see the replay on the in-house monitor right now as they're coming across. We're showing a picture of passing shot. They came to the line.
Live, I could not tell. I think passing shot might have gotten up in the last try to nip Wild Spirit. Let's take a look at our replay one more time. At the top of the stretch, when Jerry Bailey got that hole on the rail, after waiting and waiting and waiting for room and shot through, a 1-9 favorite supposed to go on and just draw off, and it looked like that's what she was going to do. But the Alan Jerkins trained passing shot kept coming, kept coming. They hit the wire, too close to call live.
And then from that angle, we're not seeing exactly. I believe
here's our shutter cam. Here's our shutter cam right there as they hit the wire.
From that view, although it could even be as a dead heat in this situation.
That is awfully, awfully tight.
When we ran through the order of horses, I believe the comment was made that passing shot seems to be fit better in Allowance Company. It is the 4 passing shot. And what we meant by that was not only could passing shot possibly win here, but also would handle Allowance Company quite easily, I think is what we're really saying, was it not? Back here at Arlington Park, just minutes away from the Arlington Million here. The grade 1, they're going 1.25 miles. Now, the Americans and the Europeans don't always agree on everything, but pretty close here on the way the betting has gone. Suleimani now getting a little more support over here at 5-2. In Europe, 3-1.